What's up, guys? So today's video is another story time, as you can see from the title and the thumbnail. This is sort of a part two, I guess, in a way, of sort of my film career up until this point. And so we will be sort of continuing from sort of where I left off in the big story that is my film career. So let's get straight into it. So, in the last one, which if you haven't seen, I do recommend going and watching that. I spoke about films that I made while I was doing my film course. This next one is sort of, I'd finished the course, but I hadn't yet graduated high school, so it's sort of in the weird sort of, I was sort of finishing the course when I started at the beginning of this story, but by the end of this particular story, I had already sort of graduated from my Cert 3. So this story is about my, what was it called? HSC drama IP, which if you are currently a HSC student studying drama or wherever a HSC student studying drama, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and if you weren't, you have no idea. Basically, it was my major work for drama as sort of like an individual rather than as part of a group, because there are two major works for drama, a group and an individual project. So this was my individual project, and obviously having studied and been sort of like interested in English and literature, studying drama, studying film, I was like, let's put all this together and I'll do the film. The groundwork for this, and this will be important for one of the future stories in this little series, I'm going to try and keep the thumbnails all the same, so that you can recognize that it's a continuation of this, but the rules applying to this doing a film as my HSC IP is that I had to write, direct, edit, and I believe there was something else. Direct, edit, produce. I don't know. There were four things basically that I had to do, and the fact that I can't remember what the fourth one is probably meant that it was acting, and I didn't act in my own film, so it probably explains the low marks that I got for it, looking back. I digress. So I had written this short film script. Nowhere in the rules did it say that I couldn't have my film teacher proofread my script for me, so I got her to read it one afternoon while I was doing my coursework for my Cert 3 in media. Had her proofread it for me in an afternoon. She was like, yep, this seems, fine. It sort of now all depends on your directing skills and your editing skills and etc. And considering that I was like literally about to finish a Cert 3, it was all fresh in my head on how to do those things. So that for me wasn't so hard. I ended up getting most of, like 90% of my cast out of the, so I was in year 12, so out of the year 10's drama group, because they had a drama group that was about 4 times the size of the year 12 group, and I wasn't allowed to use other year 12 students in drama, so it was just sort of easier to go for the larger group. So yeah, and then any other like extras and stuff, I was able to like get my family to help me out, and considering that my brother had done the Cert 3 a couple of years before me, it meant that I sort of had another sort of pair of eyes and hands that understood exactly what it was that I was doing sort of behind the scenes, and how to make certain shots look a certain way, and yeah, it was very helpful. And then so I did auditions, like I did like proper auditions. I had one of my friends who, and again this is relevant to a future story, I ended up helping with their IP. I had them sit in with me, so that I could sort of like get a second opinion sort of thing on what was good, what wasn't, etc., etc. But they were going to be on the crew with me, so they were going to be helping me like operate the camera and do the mic and sound checks and all that other sort of fun stuff. So I had them sitting with me, and then another, I think it was a year 11 student that was also studying the film course at the time, had them sit with me as well, doing the auditions, so that I could sort of get some alternate opinions on who would be best fitted for what role. They had both read the entire script, so they knew what was sort of the main personality points, etc. And I ended up with a pretty good cast, I must say. Excuse me. So yeah, I ended up with a pretty good cast, pretty good crew, and then filming got a little bit interesting. So one of the cast members, I distinctly remember, their mother was, I'll be polite and say cautious, and I, to this day, completely understand, because this particular girl was not an ugly girl, and at least at the time, I'd like to think we were fairly close friends, but like that's all it ever was. Intentions or whatever, you know, are not important there, because yeah, nothing ever happened, but I still sort of understand her being cautious, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, no, after school they're going to come to a year 12 student's house and do something that you don't fully understand, with cameras. I get it. So that was fun. Dealing with the personalities at the time, because I had done their auditions just after they'd put on that year's school performance, so everyone was still coming down off the high of being equals and everyone having a role sort of thing, and all of a sudden there's limited roles in my 7-minute film, because it couldn't go over 7 minutes. So rewrites were fun, considering that once I'd written out the full, what was at the time to me the full script, which was like 25 pages, and I had to skim that back down to 7. So I literally could only keep the key points, and sort of had to come in and go straight to the point in each of those. Was yeah, it was a whole heap of fun. So yeah, and then what were the other fun parts of that particular film shoot? I was forced to film. Obviously, I was filming on location for most of the scenes, but there was one particular scene where I had to film off location, and so I had to sort of dress up the drama room, which had black walls, which you don't normally see in like a house or anything, but in a drama room, it's like, yeah, black walls, because then when you turn all the lights off, you can use your spotlighting more effectively without it like glaring off the back wall. So, excuse me. Yeah, I had to try and make that look like it was an actual house. So I was lucky that they had some curtains there, and I was able to sort of set up a lounge room scene in front of some black curtains instead. And I think I got away with it. I'm not entirely sure. Between 2012 when I made this film and now, I've somehow lost both the rushes, which is all the raw footage that I shot, and the final version of the film, which was the version that I submitted for my HSC, are both gone, and any other edits in between. So I have no idea if I, like fresh off my top of my head, if I actually succeeded in that, but I do remember having to do that. And I also remember that at this particular point in time, myself and one of my like the year 11 student that was working with me on the film, being both crew member and was also a cast member. I remember that afterwards, while we were waiting for everyone else to sort of go home, he would always sort of stay and, you know, make sure that everyone got home, like left safely before he would get in his car and drive off. But we were both really into the epic rap battles of history at the time, and I distinctly remember, I think, now that I think about it, I think I might actually still have my verses about it. We wrote our own epic rap battle where we were the characters in it, and we used a whole heap of like inside jokes and stuff from obviously being at TAFE together every Monday afternoon. So that was a lot of fun. I distinctly remember writing that when I went into like after a shoot, when I'd go into to do some minor rewrites or whatever I needed to do on the computer. He'd come in and we'd put a playlist on in the background while I worked, and he'd sit there and rip on me, and we ended up just making an epic rap battle of our own, which was kind of cool. So yeah. Other than that, I don't think there's anything else in that. That film has ended up becoming the basis of the feature film, or one of the bases for the feature film that I'm currently writing, which is sort of why that's important. Most of my films, in one way or another, for some weird reason, and it's never been something that I've like consciously been like, oh yeah, I'm going to make a film specifically about this thing, but they've always, in one way or another, had something to do with crime or police, which is, I mean, I've had dealings with them before, with the police before, and there's a whole different series of story times just there. But I'm gonna leave it there for today. Definitely a lot more for this series. I think I've got I think I have written down about 8 different story times, and this is the second out of the lot. So if you want to see more story times about my film career, or just story times in general, hit that notification button and that's incorrect. Hit the subscription button and the notification bell. When you go half and half with both those things, doesn't do well. But yeah, hit the subscription button and the notification bell to be notified when I upload a new video. My socials are in the description down below. Make sure you go check those out. My Tumblr and Instagram specifically. Instagram is where I upload my photography. I believe I'm getting better at it, at finding not only fun and interesting things to photograph, but also on sort of like the technical side and how I'm framing it and all that other fun stuff, all the technical photography stuff. So yeah, go check that out. Let me know what you think. I think I have it set to private at the moment, but if you send me a message as well and let me know that I sent you, I will let you see my photography. And the Tumblr is where I upload my short stories. Currently taking a bit of a break on that at the moment, while I work on the storyline for one, but I should hopefully be back at that at latest by the beginning of next month. So still go and check that out. There's still a whole heap of really good stories that I'm really proud of on there. I'm currently turning the very first one, so if you get on there, you scroll all the way to the bottom, the very first 10, because I upload in increments of 10, to get one short story has 10 little parts. That first story is now technically the canonical prequel to a full-length novel that I'm also working on. So yeah, again, updates about that, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and yeah, other projects that I'm currently working on are trying to get a podcast up and running. I'm currently taking a second look at doing a like a small entertainment slash young adult like young adult issues like mental health, sexuality, that sort of thing, like aimed at young people, sort of entertainment magazine that still talks about big issues as well. Looking at how I can best go about that, trying to get that up and running. I'm also working on trying to start a photography business, so that's kind of cool. I've got a lot of stuff that I'm working on, and this is sort of the main place that I will give you guys news and updates about it, simply because Twitter, which is also in the description, only gives you certain amount of characters that you can use, and I don't particularly feel like uploading a full short story in 20 small parts on 2 versions of social media. I'd rather just do that on one and have it be a completely fictional story, and then give you guys the updates either here or maybe even in like the caption for an Instagram post. So yeah, that's all I've got. Until next time, guys, night to A2, and I'll check you later.